Alright, I think we are on here. We definitely are. Let's go. Make sure TikTok's good, and then we can carry on. Alright, so we are going to begin with some basing of our guys that we've been working on recently. And for this, we're going to use some texture paint. The texture paint we are going to use is, there we go. This bad boy here, AK Terrain's Light Earth. It is my favorite, so without further ado, let's get into it. So just going to base up a few because it does take some time to dry. Just going to slap it on here. Don't need to be too careful. If we get a little bit on his feet as well, doesn't matter too much. Because we are going to put some paint over this. Just want to cake on a fair bit. And make sure that it's spread nice and evenly. Getting that texture built up. Can always wipe it off the sides of the base as well if we get it on there. And I did get a bit on his foot, which is fine. We can make it look like he's kicking up some dirt later on, some dusty dirt. Sweet. It's nicely caked on there. Don't think we've missed any spots. So we should be good to rock and roll. On to the next one. Okay, one down, a couple more to go. And I haven't painted these ones as far along as that other dude, which is pretty much finished. So that's what we're going to be working on while the basing is drying as well. Stuff's awesome. Crypt. I have a mate that does miniatures, and I tell you, I don't have the patience. I admire what you do, man. Thank you. Yeah, I got a few friends that are also into this hobby, and they love the gaming side more than I do. Like, I don't play the game. I just kind of love the painting side of things. It's one of the times when I can be patient. I think I said it on my last stream, but like, compared to when I'm driving, that's when I'm not patient. That's when the road rage comes out. I save all my patience for this. Okay, almost done this one. Yeah, save it for what matters. That's exactly right. This is more important, you know. Cool. I'm gonna clean up the base and we can go on to our other dude. It's wiping up all those little bits there. Oxyfar is asking about graphics cards. Mate, I have no idea. I think you're in the wrong place. Not a clue when it comes to graphics cards. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of crossover, I suppose. I do game, but I don't know. I don't know all the techs and specs of PCs. I am in need of an upgrade though. My poor computer is quite old. Alright, so we're painting this one up on stream the other day too, and I'm pretty happy with how he's coming out, particularly the face. I do like that skin. Kind of went for a bit more of a pale looking skin tone. And yeah, pretty happy with how he's come out. The only thing I don't like about the texture paint is that it dries so quickly that it even starts to dry in the pot here. Like you can see it starting to just dry up on the sides. And then normally, like even putting the lid on, it still doesn't really affect it that much. But other than that, it's a fucking fantastic product. Yeah, keep going. No worries, Crip. Thanks for dropping by, saying hello. Enjoy. Alright, we are getting somewhere. BH66 is asking, are these raptors? They are raptors. I don't actually know what they are because I haven't decided what chapter they're from. I put it out to my followers. I made a video a little while ago to help pick a name for these guys because I have no idea. I know, something like spooky. I got like warp ghosts and things like that for the names. But yeah, I just wanted to paint like a really grimy, dirty, white looking armor. And this is what I came up with. But if you want to see a raptor, I'll quickly show you. Here's one of them right here. So this is one of the first minis that I painted after I got an airbrush. And very happy with how he turned out. Nicholas McGee, what in the asbestos fallout am I looking at? You are looking at one of the sexiest miniatures to exist on this earth. Thunder Pigments, hello my friend, how are you? Good to see you back here. Have you been up to much hobbying lately? And for those of you over on YouTube wondering who I'm talking to, I'm actually live same time on TikTok. So unfortunately I don't know how to get the chat across, but that's why I'm reading out all the comments as well. I had my birthday yesterday. I pre-ordered the Saturnine box. Oh, happy birthday, mate. Happy birthday for yesterday. What a fantastic gift for yourself. Couldn't think of anything better. Nick, what are you doing to the base? We're slapping on some texture paint. And we've finished for these three. I'm only doing small batches now. I do have some guys in reserve, but I'm just going to save them maybe for another stream, because you know you can't do it all at once. I'm going to save something up the sleeve. But yeah, the texture paste that we've been using is this one here. Terrain Slide Earth by AK. Yes, these are the tubs that I use all the time because they are fantastic. Really good product. And yeah, BH66. What chapter are you going to paint them up in? Thunder Pigments? The world is your oyster. New box of Space Marines. Now while this is drying, let's get onto the smoke. And I think from memory, I said I was going to paint it orange, and I think I'm going to stand by that. So, looking at the abundance of paints around me, I'm going to start by grabbing a few from my shelf. What is Nick saying here? Speaking of new gifts, Mr. Fiend want to get the new Kill Team box. Did I miss that? Was there a new Kill Team box that came out in the previews? I only saw the ones with all the like first founding chapters. I did not see that. 8 Necrons and Deathwatch. Sounds pretty good. Could be convinced if you're paying. Alrighty, so let's start on some of this orange color. We might go in to begin just with some Troll Slayer orange. It's going to be quite bright, but that's okay. We can always tone it down if we need to, because we don't really want it to look like fire. I'm kind of go for like that orange tear gas look rather than grey, because it's too much grey otherwise. And Thunder Pigments is thinking Space Wolves or Dark Angels for his Saturnine box. But it's difficult to choose different factions even between the trader ones. I agree with you there. I get, what is it? Decision paralysis. Too much to choose from. That's why I don't have a completed army. I just keep chopping and changing. Can't decide on one. True, BH. That's a good good thing. Good suggestion. Go with whatever Primarch you think is coolest. Okay, let's get this orange smoke happening, hey? Make sure that I am keeping you in the frame so you guys can see what I'm painting. I have a bad habit of going off screen. And let me know, guys, if the music is too loud, because I've been tweaking with my settings to try and make it easier in the back end. So if it's blowing your ears out or you can't hear it, let me know. That would be greatly appreciated. There's a few comments flying here on TikTok. What do we got? New Space Wolf updates are really exciting. Yes, that they are. They are very exciting. And Nick reckons that Logan Grimnar is one of the best centerpiece models Games Workshop has brought out in a long while. And Thunder Pigment's favorite Primarch is the Lion and also Lehman Russ. I'd have to go with you there. I do like the Lion model in particular. I think it's very like imposing looking. And from a lore standpoint too, it's pretty cool. Okay. I think that's what we want. Just trying to look ahead. This is kind of what we want to go for with the smoke color, but we're obviously going to build upon that and get some lighter areas and some dark areas, but we just need to wait for it to dry. And while that's drying, why don't we move back to our other dude and start picking out some of the other components that we've missed. So I think we need to bring out the silver paint to pick out some of those little bits of tech on his armor. So for that we're going to use 2 thin coats plate armor, decent paint, nothing too fancy. I think it's a better version of like Lead Belcher from Citadel. Always give your paintbrush a lick for good measure. Crontap over on YouTube is asking, any plans on Primarchs coming up? Do you mean to paint for me? If so, I have my very own Angron sitting in a box set that I have yet to paint. So I think it's going to be Angron for me. Unless I get a commission to paint otherwise, that is the plan. Or maybe Fulgrim now that I have the Emperor's Children box set as well, that Combat Patrol. But I do like the Angron model better than Fulgrim's one. Yeah. I wish I could show you Crontap, sorry. I did paint up an Angron for a client one time, and he wanted like pale Angron colors. So unfortunately don't have the model anymore, but if you are so inclined and wanted to head over to my Instagram, I'm pretty sure that I posted some photos of him on there. And that was one model that I was very proud of and very sad to see when I put it in the post to send it back to my client. I've missed a few comments on TikTok, sorry guys. Nick, imagine painting one own minis. Yes, I know. I'm a bit behind on my own minis, aren't I? And BH66, how do you get the colors so matte, especially the black? The black just comes matte. The color that I use is the best black that I reckon you can buy, and it's this one here, Model Color Black from Vallejo. It just dries really black and has really good coverage. And then just use a matte spray if you ever want to make things look matte. The one that I am a big fan of is the AK Interactive Ultra Matte varnish. I'll show you what they look like if you haven't seen them before. This is really good. I just spray it through the airbrush, or you can apply it with paintbrush too, but because it's quicker, I'll just spray it through the airbrush. Sometimes it can be a little too matte. I'll see if I can show you an example. I'm pretty sure it's a bit dusty, so forgive me. But this Flesh Terror that I painted, I sprayed with the matte varnish, ultra matte varnish, before I did the metallics, which is why the metallics are still shiny, but the rest of the armor is quite matte, if you can see. So that's kind of the result of that. So yeah, quite a good product if you're looking to keep things matte. And then the other thing you can do is use this too, which is satin. If you don't want ultra matte, you can just mix in a drop or two of this satin varnish, and it becomes like just a matte instead of the ultra. But homebrew, you know. And we don't even need to go in for a second layer with this silver. I think one layer will do, because we're also going for that grim dark look. It doesn't really matter too much if you miss small areas, because when you're looking at the model with all the wear and tear on it, like, it just kind of blends in. Particularly on something like the gun. So you can move quite fast. Bernardi is asking, what cameras are you using for this stream? I am just using my mobile phone and a webcam. Hooked it all up and away we go. I am using OBS stream software though, so I can also reach out to the people on YouTube, because I'm doing this stream on both at the same time. Nick saying, on new models, would love to see you eventually paint the new Chaos Dwarves range. Oof, I do love me some Chaos minis. I might even, you know, stoop so low as to paint dwarves if they're chaotic. Thanks, Bernardi, appreciate it. Yeah, I've been looking around like how to kind of set it up, and for what I'm after, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. And Cron Tap over on YouTube is asking, is that a Kalinsky brush? It is, my friend, good spotting. It is a Raphael Kalinsky Sable paintbrush, and the size is a size 0, is the one that we're using at this current time. And it is my go-to brush for most things. And if I want to slap down layers a little bit quicker, I'll use just a size 1. I literally use these two brushes to paint 99% of my models. Definitely worth the investment, even though they're a little bit more expensive. And Lotus over on YouTube is asking, is this a White Scars? No, it's not. It's a White Space Marine, but it is not a White Scars. It is a unknown chapter that I have just concocted and have yet to give a name. So if you got any suggestions, throw them my way. And Nick is saying, I mostly want to see you explore the Bronze Bull HQ model. Some fun burning furnace, bronze metallic. Yes. I did see someone paint up one in Golden Demon, which, did they sculpt it themselves recently? I can't remember, but I remember seeing like a Chaos Dwarf on something. And that looked pretty cool. Thank you, Osadosa. Appreciate it. And thanks, you too, Lotus. What did we do on the other ones? I think we might have left the grill around his face white. We did. We just painted that antenna silver, so we're going to leave that. Maybe just paint the gadget on his arm in silver too, and then we can pick out like the screens and the buttons later on. Crontap over on YouTube is saying, been thinking about what kind of brush to use next. Started with GW, went on to Army Painter, which are fine, but the tip is kind of meh, and the Kalinsky ones are looking quite nice. Very similar to what I did, my friend. Obviously, when most people first get into the hobby, they pick up the paints and the brushes from Games Workshop along with their box of models. So I did the same. I did try some of the Artist Opus brushes too, and to be honest, people say really good things about them. They weren't fantastic, in my opinion. They kept falling apart and hairs would just fall out randomly. So not a massive fan. And then I went on to the Kalinsky Sables, and just, they're so dope. Highly recommend. And Dylan is asking, is this a Marine from Warhammer 40,000? I don't know. I used to play the game all the time as a kid. Correct, Dylan. This is a Marine from Warhammer 40,000. This guy is in Phobos armor, which probably wasn't around if you... I don't know how old you are, but if you're a kid, when I was a kid, they didn't have these guys back then. So they look quite different now. And Faded, love seeing Warhammer get some love. Also, do you have a feed cam? No, sorry Faded, I've only got a face and a hand cam. The feet cam's behind a paywall. Yeah. Just getting a bit more silver on my palette because we are starting to run out. Dylan, that's crazy. I used to play orcs and just spawn HQs everywhere and ruin the map. Yeah. I never actually played much of the game, to be honest. Yeah, unless, hang on, are you talking about like the video game or the actual, like, because there was like Dawn of War and stuff, and that was really good fun, which I used to play a lot also as a kid. Yeah, 26, but I feel at least 40. Yeah, I feel you too, mate. I'm almost 29, pushing 30 soon, so I feel ya. On some days. Yeah, I pick out the camera thing on his face though, too. And Braden, is this from Fallout? No, it is not from Fallout. It is from Warhammer 40,000, the magical universe of Warhammer 40,000, where everyone has a happy ending. Thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. You do not look 30. I mean, I'm not 30 yet. I've still got to hit 29, a couple of months away from that. Paint the vents on the back. Yeah. Oh mate, I've always been baby-faced. You know it, don't you, Nick? Dylan, I used to, then I had twin girls 3 years ago, and now I've aged like a war vet. My condolences, mate. Aging like a war vet sounds rough. Okay, I think that'll probably do for the silver on this bloke for now. I think I've picked out most of the bits. We can probably put him down for a bit. And move on to the other one, which we're painting the orange smoke. So we might just chuck on one more layer, I think, because it's still not covering great. Not that happy with it just yet. Hopefully it doesn't take as long to dry this time. And we're still a little bit off from the basing to dry, but to give you an idea of what I'm thinking of doing, I want to go for like that Mars, very red earth looking base, nice and dusty, and have it kind of coming up on their lower legs. That's the plan. Torchy saying, nah, Skylanders better. I don't know what Skylanders is or are. Sorry, mate. But yeah, as I was saying, something like this, I'm thinking, like a red Martian Earth base, because I just love the look on like a white. This is for a World Eater that I did, and poor dude's missing a backpack. But that's kind of what we want, like that color with that. I think will look sick if I can just like imagine there. Close one eye and have a look. That's what we're going for. It's a Toys to Life game. Yeah, right. No, I've never heard of it. Might have to check it out. Skylanders. I think while we're still on this mini and this smoke is still drying, we might just add maybe a couple of like highlights and scratches on the gun. So to do that, just to kind of make it fit in a little bit with the rest of the sort of damaged look that we're going for, I'm going to use just like a lighter grey color, slightly lighter grey color. TB says that armor color is crazy. Thank you. Yeah, I got inspired off a couple of photos that I saw on Instagram a while back and thought I'd try my own rendition of like a really disgusting looking weathered white armor. Used to be pristine back in the day, but it's just seen eons of battle. That's what I'm imagining anyway. So, because we want to do, like, I'm just going to hold my finger here so hopefully it focuses. What I'm going to try and do is I don't really want like a nice even edge highlight. I kind of want to do kind of tippy-tappy, if you can see this. So it doesn't look like a nice straight line, because that will help with some of this damage that we're going to try and generate. So we do like a scratch here like this. A scratch like that, a couple more dots, go a little bit crazy with it, but try and keep the brush extra thin. It'll all just help build up the appearance or the illusion that it's kind of scratched as well. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to try and keep it nice and steady so it doesn't unfocus while I'm doing it. J-Bob's asking, do I just play or paint? Mainly just paint, J-Bob. But I am getting pressure from my friends to start playing because they're all playing, and I don't know. I think it'd be fun too to eventually play. But I've never had a painted army, and I was always like, I need to have a painted army to play, which I know you don't need to, but just for myself, I was like, I need to have a painted army. But we never got there, so. Because I just like the painting too much. I just keep changing. Oh, I see a cool looking model, I want to paint that. And then my pile of shame just keeps growing. But thank you, I appreciate it. So you can sort of see now that that's looking a little bit more weathered. That gun kind of ties in a little bit more with the rest of what we got going on here. You could use metallic scratches as well, but I don't know, it might just look a little bit too much like the rest of the metallic pieces of the gun and you'll lose the separation, but whatever. Okay, let's move back to the smoke now. So we started off with a base coat of this Troll Slayer orange. I'm gonna start building up a little bit more with this Fire Dragon Bright. I'm just experimenting. I'm just playing it by ear at the moment. It could look shit, and we might have to redo things, but it's kind of most of my paint jobs. It's just experimenting. So you can always go back and fix it if you don't like what you end up with. I think it's almost like the opposite of like with the flames, where like flames will have the brighter colors like emanating from in here, like the inside of the flame, whereas like smoke, I'm just trying to remember like if you ever see like colored smoke bombs and all that sort of stuff. I feel like the brightest areas tend to be the ones furthest on the outside, whereas the areas on the inside tend to be a little bit darker. So that's what I'm going to try and emulate with this step. Bethany, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Okay, I am quite happy with how that's looking now. So much so that we might even pump it up a little bit more. So I'm going to add some yellow to this Fire Bright Dragon. I'll leave this on screen so you can see it while I'm off screen mixing away on my paint palette. So I'm grabbing a bit of that Fire Bright Dragon, and maybe we just go Uriel yellow. What do you think? I think we give it a shot. Let's see. Because I don't want to go white, because white will desaturate your colors a bit too much. I think just having a little bit of this yellow might be the way to go. Let's see. Subtle, but it is there. I'm actually quite happy with how that looks. I don't know if you guys can see the transition on the camera, but in real life it's actually looking pretty good. Nathan Mason just came across your account for stuff. Minis are insane. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to do a bit more content these days. Like I've been making those short little 60-second vids, which are fun. But doing this live stuff is also fun too. Thank you, Mr. McGee. I think so too. I think the color depth is coming along. And Mike, How you going, mate? So kind of keeping that underside that little bit darker, because you always got to remember, this is the way the light's coming. So that'll be brighter, naturally. And if we even want to, we can just go in and dull things down again, but nah, it's fine for now. We'll just leave it as is. I really thought that the bases would be dry by now, but shit's taking fucking forever. I need to speed things up. But I have tried that with the hair dryer, and it then just kind of melts into goop, which is not good, so you just have to naturally let it dry, I have learned. So with that said, maybe let's start picking out some of these little, well, do we want to? No, because we want to have them glowing. We might give the leather a bit of a coat of snakebite leather, just to kind of make it a little bit more brown and a little bit of variation. That's what we're going to do. But yes, Mike, another day, brother. Yes, that's it. Another day, another dollar, another model to pay. And we just fucked up. We got it on the handle of the thing, so that is a sad trombone. 100%. See if we can fix that. Nathan says, first live I've come across, will be interesting to see how someone experienced paints in real time. Yeah, thanks. I try and showcase it a little bit here, but obviously it's hard. Like if I want to have a chat with you guys as well, I get sidetracked. But yes, I do notice that my ability tanks real hard when I'm trying to like show in the screen and paint and talk at the same time. So don't expect great things, unfortunately. And Mike is asking, do I work 5 days? I work 4 days. I have most Fridays off, which is good. So expect to see me on here a little bit more on Fridays. And what was I saying? We need to put some snakebite leather on. So let's do that. So I'm not really going to even dilute this a little bit. I might do just like one tiny little bit of water to dilute some of the snakebite leather. And we're going to apply it over those leather bits to get it to look a little bit more like this one, where it's quite muted, but there's, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's a fair bit of variation between like areas of the leather, which kind of makes it look stressed, like stressed old leather. Whereas at the moment it looks a bit sad and flat. You can always come back in and highlight it, but I'm not going for like a crazy level of detail, so I probably won't bother with it. But if I was painting for display, yeah, definitely come in with those highlights. And then I think what we can look at doing once this starts to dry, we may be able to put an oil wash or an enamel wash on it if things have dried properly. And that is one of the most fun steps when painting models. is put in an enamel wash or an oil wash. Try and get in all these little hard to reach areas. Always just turning the model, not turning the paintbrush. You don't need to turn your paintbrush hand at all. You kind of want to make the model work for you. Hot tip. Yeah, you do want to be careful with contrast paints, particularly when you've got like something like this with white armor, because it will stain very easily and then it will be extremely hard to try and fix afterwards. So just be careful when you're doing light colors, or sorry, doing contrast paint near light colors, because it'll be quite noticeable if you do mess it up. Yeah, pretty happy with that. With that done, I might do the same with the gun while everything else is still drying. And Mike is asking, do you use certain brushes? These are the two brushes that I use. I showed them earlier, but they are the Raphael Kalinsky Sable brushes. They're pretty much the only two brushes that I use to paint models for the most part. And then when I'm doing like oil washes and stuff like that, you use just a shitty old brush, like from the dollar store, because they're going to get destroyed by oils and enamels. So let's scratch up this gun a little bit. Just kind of move quite fast. Try and focus on the corners as well, because that's where things normally get damaged. And then occasionally add in a couple of like scratches on the flat surfaces where things might have scraped across the surface. I'm not going for crazy detail, but I just want something there, otherwise it looks too out of place, like a fresh clean gun against a dude that's like absolutely fucked up with like scratches and rust and stuff. That's why we're just adding a little bit of texture and detail to it. Liam over on YouTube is asking, what chapter are we doing? It's a pick your own adventure chapter, mate. No, these are unknown warriors in the galaxy from a homeworld that is not documented. So you tell me. I don't have a name for them yet. And Mike is saying, I've broken the road MK3, I'm not sure. Hey. Hang on, I'm reading that out of order here. I'm not sure if you've heard about them. Broke Toad. They are decent. Not too expensive. No, I haven't heard of them. Are they Kalinsky brushes? Like, are they natural hair or are they synthetic? Things are taking a long time to dry tonight. I think my room's a little bit cooler, so it's not drying as fast, which is a shame because I really wanted to paint the bases and show you how I do my dust bases tonight. but we might just have to settle for maybe some extra highlights on things while we still wait. So in that case, I might go around and just add a few additional highlights on the leather pouches, I think. And what color to choose is the question for that. Maybe we use leather brown. It's in the name, so maybe we use leather brown. See, I think that's what we originally did, but it's quite grey. Not what I'm after. Oh, I have other paints elsewhere. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go off screen and grab my other paints that I've got hidden away. I think we might use like Mornfang Brown or XV88. Oh, look at that, I'm a genius. Forgot I had these paints hidden away. Squirrel hair, Mike says, for those broken toed brushes. Interesting. I didn't know that they made brushes out of squirrel hair. And Crontab over on YouTube saying, have you tried synthetic brushes? If so, thoughts? The only time I've used synthetic brushes are for when I'm using the oil and enamel paints because they're cheap. And I don't really care if they get ruined. I have used, like, just using them for that, they get destroyed, as I said, really quickly. But no, I haven't really used them for painting that I know of. Like all the ones I've used, I have assumed that they've been, or under the impression that they were natural hair. And Jamie Hines, what army is that? I was saying just a little earlier, these guys are home brewed, so they're open for interpretation. They have no name. They are nameless. They need to be given some love. So if you can think of a name, let me know. An unknown paradox. Have you considered trying a darkish blue shade in the recesses? I find that helps make the tones pop. I should have specified for the white armor. I haven't. What I wanted to do here was use if you can see when I hold it this way, the underside's all quite green. So I was going for like top, it's like white or dirty white. And I used the green in the bottom because I wanted to give more of like a dirty feel, whereas blue is a bit more ominous, I think. So that's why I went for that as like an undershade color. There we go. Oh no, is that what it looks like from a distance? Why did bro look like he's holding a Cheeto? Shit, he does too. He looks like a twisty. We have these twisties down here in Australia. I don't know where you're from, but now that I look at it, it looks like a massive fucking twisty. Yikes. And Liam over on YouTube, I picked up some brushes in Sydney. Aussie made wolf hair brushes from all the wolves we have here apparently. But they look hella nice, been too scared to use them. I have a feeling that I've seen them in store one time, and I thought that was very interesting, being wolf hair and all, but I didn't pick them up. So you need to give them a shot and tell me how you go. Bite the bullet, can't be scared, mate. The wolves would want you to paint Warhammer with their hair. Be rude not to. Nah. How do you say your name? Belligerent. There you go. Belligerent. It looks good. Sorry if that bothered you. I just had to say it. Nah, it didn't bother me at all. I thought it was fucking hilarious, mate. Because, you know, when like you just think of something in your head and like, I would never have thought that ever unless someone had said it. And now I can't unsee it. Which is fucking great. Guster? White Scars. No, not White Scars. Unknown chapter. Give me a name suggestion and I'll think about it. And Liam over on YouTube. Chronicle cards. You've convinced me I'm going to try them out on my Gloom Spites. Oof. Hell yeah, I'm glad I convinced you. Report back. Let me know how you go on those little goblin boys. And Cronchap, still over on YouTube, is asking, are you collecting armies or is it mainly passion projects like this? I'm trying to collect an army. I know, like, by the end of this year I want to have either my World Eaters box painted or my Emperor's Children box painted, so then I can play at least one game with some friends. But outside of that, I have been painting really for passion, and I do a lot of commission painting as well, which is why I don't actually have a lot of models to show you guys in hand, because they've all been shipped off back to their owners. But for now, that's pretty good. I'm happy with his leather pouches. White Tears. That's interesting. I like that one. I'm noting that. I'll put it to the board for consideration. You don't need to paint to play. My friend has one squad painted and we play all the time. That's true. Look, I know you don't need to have it painted, but for me, ever since I was like a kid when I started this, something about me, I was like, I just want to have a painted army. I think it came from back in the day, I really struggled painting built models. Like I'd paint a little bit in subassembly, and I thought, oh, if I built them all, then I'd never get them painted to how I would like because I would struggle too much. Now I'd be fine. I could probably do it because I paint a lot of models that are already built and I'm fine with it. And yeah, so maybe it's just an old thing that I just have never gotten over. But you're very much correct. You don't need to have painted models to play. And no, oh my god, people still do this. Yes, they do. There are many of us plastic crack addicts out there. We're lurking in every dark corner. Every Good Games, every Warhammer store will be there. Nah, I knew you were saying that in a joking manner, mate. I'm not taking anything seriously here, mate. It's all good. Tom, is it difficult to paint them? It depends. I guess it depends who you ask. I find Space Marines fairly easy to paint because I've painted so many of them. When I paint models that I've never really painted before, like different types and different factions, it can be a challenge because I'm not used to it. But I love painting, so I'm up for the challenge. but it does take time to get to where you want to be as a painter. But yeah, if you really want to buy some but never painted, just go for it. Don't let, you know, anything stop you. And who gives a fuck if you stuff up? Like, you can always, it's just paint. It's plastic and paint. It's, you know, it's not a big deal. And you can strip it back if you really want to. You know, if you're short on money and you can only afford a box and a few paints and you want to keep practicing, you can just do that. Rinse and repeat over and over again. You got the same plastic model, you can strip it back to the bare plastic. It's quite easy to do. Liam back over on YouTube is saying, I feel like Australia in particular have really talented painters, but more than that, have developed some really unique styles. Yeah, I see some, I forget the name, is it David Cowell? He's like a really fantastic painter. I see him on Instagram all the time, who's an Aussie. Quite inspiring to see some of his work too. And James says, call them stormtroopers, and white is not easy to make it look good. Yes, it is not. It's one of the harder colors, that's for sure. I don't know if you saw earlier. I'll show you Cheeto Dude, James. This is Cheeto Dude, unintentionally, but he will now be known as Cheeto Dude. This is kind of what we're going for, like the dirty white. So at the moment, we have yet to put the weathering, like the grime effects on. So this still looks quite pristine. But after thousands of years in battle, this is what we're going to go for. And the bases are just dry, and we haven't done those yet either. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, I think it's Guste. Gust. I'm just going to say Guste. I suck at painting, and I need tips. I don't know where to begin, mate. If you've got specific areas that you've got questions on, shoot them in the chat and I'll see if I can answer them. Yeah, that's all I can really say to that. And TB literally picked it up again at 30 after like 20 years. Yeah, exactly it. I picked the hobby back up like 2.5, 3 years ago. And it's been a great decision, and I have to thank my girlfriend for doing that. She pushed me to go back into the hobby. So I think we've done that there on that dude. Fairly happy with that. We could maybe move on to the grime step, as we were saying. I'm going to have to swap my palette because you don't want to put oils and enamels on or near your wet palette because water and oil do not mix. So I am just going to swap my palette, so give me a minute. Then we can get underway. A great kit to start is the Intercessors kit, 100%. Get a lot of options, make some cool poses, good suggestion. A no-no is that you're only hobby bro, or are you into anything else? In terms of like hobby that I do with my hands and stuff, this is it. Like I make a lot of content around it as well because I enjoy doing that. But I play a lot of video games with or used to play a lot of games with my friends. And League of Legends being one of the games that I played a lot of, even though I'm still dog shit at it. I'm just addicted. Okay, palette is pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to show you guys. We're going to use Streaking Grime, which is my go-to. If you've watched any of my videos, it will almost certainly make an appearance, at least at some point throughout the video. And what we do is we thin it down with a bit of this odorless thinner. Oh, hang on, I picked up the wrong one. We're not going to use that Streaking Grime. We are going to use this Streaking Grime. Glad I gave that a second thought. dark streaking grime for this white color is what we're going to use for the majority of the wash, because it's got a greeny tone, and as I said earlier, that green is kind of what we're going for, that dirty look. So same thing, going to use a little bit of thinner to make that paint flow a little bit better. So I'm using a little pipette thing to get the thinner out. Liam, what ratio of thinner do you use? I honestly don't even think about a ratio. It comes with just experience. I kind of know when I want the quantity. I don't know if you can see it here, but that's kind of the thinner that I've poured into this absolutely dog's breakfast of a palette. So a little bit of that, and then what we want to do is we've shaken up this bottle. I'll show you. I'm going to dip in my really shit brush like that, probably about that much, and that's probably going to be enough to get that going. And even so, just looking at that, that's going to need a little bit more thinner in it because it's looking a little bit thick. So what I'll do is I'm going to add in a little bit more. And I'll show you the consistency. God, I'm mincing my words tonight with what we want. That is slightly better. I'm going to go with that. That's probably what we want. And the good thing is, if it's not, and it's a bit too thick, we can always rub it off with a little bit more elbow grease when it comes to removing the paint later on, which is what we will be doing. So it is a tad thick. I'm just looking at that there. It might be, the way that I tell is the way that it tints straight away. So I'm going to add off screen just to maybe a couple more drops. Give it a good mix. And something like that. I know it probably doesn't look like much on camera, but I do see a noticeable difference in real life. It just looks a little bit thinner. I don't know how else to describe it, but it looks like a thinner layer of paint. But that kind of really only comes with first-hand experience. Like, you just got to practice with it. And Tom, well, sorry I missed that before. Word, he's going to give it a go. Hell yeah, Tom's into it. And he's re-downloading Space Marine for a second playthrough because of this live. Oh, I'm glad I inspired you to get out there and kill Xenos in the Emperor's name. And Liam, do I varnish it beforehand? No, I don't. Nope. I know a lot of people say to varnish beforehand, but I don't find that you need to. Particularly if you're painting just for display purposes. The only time I'd really varnish is right at the end if you're going to start gaming, because handling the models, you will rub off paint eventually. But for now, I'm pretty happy with it. And you're just going to be soft when you're removing the paint like this. It should just come off fairly easily, which is what's happening. You don't need to apply too much pressure, so there's no risk of really removing any underlayers. You're just curious about if spirits would reactivate speed paints. No, they wouldn't. Not from my experience. You need to leave them to dry. The times things have reactivated, and where I would varnish, it's an exception, is if you're using inks. Particularly a certain brand, Liquitex inks. I'm looking at them because they're great, but they have caused me many a heartache. Which I learned really fast was, even when they're fully dry, or you think they're fully dry, they get reactivated with the spirits, and it completely ruins your model because it just gets peeled up. So definitely use the varnish between those layers. And I wouldn't even just use a matte varnish, I would use a gloss varnish, because the gloss varnish is, I find it quite thick compared to some of the matte varnishes, and dry a little bit more, like a hard coat. Speed paints though, I will have to challenge you on that, because this one here, I painted this guy with speed paints and then put a wash of streaking grime and removed it, and no varnish in between, and I didn't get any lift on that. So that's what it looks like after removing some of that streaking grime over the Slaughter Red speed paint from the Army Painter. So yeah, I think it's to do with drying times with the speed paints, but yeah, inks are a different story. And Tom, I reckon I'm going to buy a heap and paint them as I like, a display for my shelf. Yeah, nice. That's exactly it, and that's what I do. I don't have a shelf to put it anywhere to just kind of clutter on my desk, but maybe one day I'll get around to having a little shelf to display all my minis on. Okay. So I'm quite happy with that. So you can sort of see now how that's toned down the white quite significantly, and it's added that kind of ghostly greeny look to it, which is exactly what we wanted, but it is missing the browny areas to it. I'm not talking about the streaks, but I'm more talking about just like, if you look here, there's like grime surrounding the streaks. That's where we use the streaking grime, the brown version anyway, or the OG one, and that's what we're going to do now. So again, back to your streaking grime, a little bit of white spirits, and we're going to apply in select areas. We're not going to do the entire model this time, just going to put it in areas where we want a bit of that grime to be showing more. We're running out of white spirits already. Liam over on YouTube is saying, what time do your streams start and end? I'm enjoying watching and painting along. I'm enjoying having you here, my friend. Thanks for sticking around for as long as you have. I actually don't have a schedule because my life is a bit of all over the place. I'm trying to go live of the evenings now because that's kind of when I get some time to myself to be able to do it. But yeah, as of now, I don't really have a schedule. I will probably have to start doing things earlier because I can't be staying up to midnight and doing a 9 to 5 as well. Like I'm just cooking myself doing that. So at the moment it's a bit ad hoc. I know it's not ideal, but it's kind of whenever. And with that being said, I'm going to paint only for another 10 more minutes or so. So if you guys want to hang around for that, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm enjoying having you guys here, but I'll probably head off in about 10 minutes or so. So as I was saying here with the streaking grime, we just kind of want to dab it in a few areas because we just want to discolor it in places, but not take away from the entire white that we've worked so hard to build, you know? So be a little bit selective with it. That'll probably do it. You can see it's quite effective. We're going to start removing it. Warp Enigma. Looks good, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate the kind words. And James is saying it is 9:30 in the morning for James, and I should get a new $1 brush. What's wrong with this brush? You know, looks fantastic. It's my little pineapple brush. Nah, I'd probably seen better days. Nadine, hello my friend, how are you? You've come by when I literally just announced that I'm staying on for another 10 minutes. So I expect to see you around for another 10 minutes. See you at the stream. I don't want to be too too much of a perfectionist when we're removing this bit of the brown, because we want to leave it to stain in areas as well. The place that you don't want it to be picking up stuff is on top where the light's coming, which I'm kind of here, you can see here on the shoulder pad. Probably don't want the grime up here because it takes away from the white if it's too much towards where the light would be coming from. We kind of want to push it down into the lower parts, like so. So to do that, I just added a little bit of white spirits onto this makeup applicator, and it makes it easy to push down into those recesses and areas that we want it. Yeah, 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I know. I'm getting tired. Got work tomorrow, unfortunately. And do I sell them or keep them? These ones are my own, so I'll keep these little dudes. I do paint on commission, so people will sometimes send me their models to paint up. And sometimes I've painted up a few of my own and eventually just gone on to sell them as well. So all three, I guess, to your question. Back over on YouTube, Warp Enigma is saying, I think it's normal to not paint a model from start to finish in one go. No. Yeah, true. Unless you're speed painting, I'll paint a model over a few days. It's good to sort of break it up too. It gives you something to look forward to on those other days. And is this a homebrew or official chapter? I think that'll answer someone else's question over here on TikTok as well. Homebrew. This is not Raptors, as Anthony has asked, but it is an unknown one. So someone said White Tears, I think it was, which is really cool. So I have taken that on notice. I think earlier as well, someone put in like Ghost Warp, Warp Ghosts, which is also really cool. Yet to decide, we'll see. Officer Duty? I'm going to say Officer Duty. Do you use the airbrush? Yes, I do. I very much use the airbrush. I'm a strong advocate for it because it is a tool that allows you to do great work in a short amount of time, which means you can paint more models, which I am a big fan of. And Nadine's saying that I should quit my job and do this for a job. Does your everyday job, is it artistic? I think you're asking, is it to do with the arts? My everyday job is not. It's to do with tourism. So not to do with the arts in the slightest. But I wish I could do this full time, but unfortunately that's not going to pay the bills. So I'm happy sharing it with you guys for the time being anyway. Who knows, maybe one day. Love the color, thank you. And Jethro, damn, how'd you get that look? I got inspired off a few photos I saw on Instagram to do this kind of dirty white look. And it's a bit of a process, but it's a bit of airbrushing, lots of grime acrylics. Kind of this one is a little bit more finished. So that's why I'm just bringing it on screen so you can see. This one's probably the most finished out of them all, except for the base, because I want to have like that ghostly blue lens and those rust effects. That's really what we're going to go for, because it's really fun to do. But yes, there's quite a few steps involved. I can't actually remember them all at the moment. But yeah, lots of airbrushing, lots of weathering. And Jam over on YouTube, painting for others is always so disheartening for me. Yeah, it can get like that. Like when you're painting onto a deadline and to try and meet someone's expectations, yeah, you can burn out pretty quick. And I've been there before. But you just got to push through. You just got to keep painting. Nadine, you sound tired. You should go to sleep. Yeah, look, I think I will. I'll probably call it in about, what are we now, 11:32. I'll give us 3 minutes and I'll probably head off. James over on YouTube is saying ghost fangs. Ooh, let me write these down. Hang on, put it over here. So we've got ghost fangs. We've got white tears, and we have warp ghosts. Food for thought. I might even put it to a poll. I don't know how to do a poll, but I'm going to work out how I can do a poll with you guys. So next time we can all vote once we've got a few, and whoever wins, we'll call it that. And Warp Enigma still on YouTube. That orange smoke with the white pop, so good. Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to go for, and hopefully it doesn't look like fire, because it's obviously not what I was going for. But like more like that orange tear gas look. And if you can imagine, and next time on my stream, we're going to do this, like the Mars type base, because I think that works really well with light colored armor, like this World Eater. So I was hoping to do it on this one, because we started with the texture paste, but it's still wet, so we unfortunately can't go onto that step this time around, so something for next time. And Jethro, sponge, weathering, or a mixture of techniques. Good eye, very good eye. Yes, I did sponge weathering, but then I also went back in with a paintbrush to do like those little scrapes on the armor. So yeah, literally a bit of sponge like this. I dabbed it in some charcoal paint and went around. And then I got my paintbrush and just did the little scratches like that. Very well spotted. And my voice is relaxing. I'm putting you to sleep now. That's no good. I don't want to be putting my viewers to sleep. No one will be watching me. Everyone will just be off in dreamland. But no. Dan, thank you. Appreciate that, mate. As always. And X Hoops loves the model. Thank you. And Smoke Marines from TB. Is that a name? I think that is a name. We're going to add that to the list. Smoke Marines? Good night, Warp Enigma. Thank you for tuning in for so long. It's been great having you here. I'll see you guys next time. And Nadine, yes, I hope to have you around later as well. And I'm going to be able to put on my little thing that I've been working on, so it doesn't end abruptly. If you wanted to still chat with anyone else in the stream, I'll keep it up for another minute or so. So I'm going to switch it to my little holding screen, which I've been working on. So hang around to check that out. And I will catch you all next time. Thanks for painting along with me. See you guys. Bye.